Hey, this is Jill Ciminillo with Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and this week I'm driving the Infiniti QX-60 Autograph Edition. Now, a couple months ago, Publisher Tim Esterdahl did a video and said this was the best luxury vehicle you could buy, and yeah, I'm going to call bullshit on that. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to issue just a little bit of a counterpoint to his love fest that he did on this vehicle, and we're driving pretty much an identical vehicle. So let's take a closer look right now. Now, the first thing that I would like to call bullshit on is how luxurious this interior is. He gushed, I'm going to use that word gushed, over the quilted patterning on these seats. And okay, I think it looks all right, but I have to admit I'm not really a fan of this white piping with the brown leather, and I don't like the white stitching and the brown stitching. Yes, this autograph embossing is really nice, and I don't know, but I don't love this as much as he does. I don't think it looks as good as what he thinks it does. And you do have the quilted pattern that does transfer onto the dash, and okay, that looks kind of nice, but it's not, again, as lovely or beautiful as he seems to think it is. It's okay. The other thing I want to point out is he said that these seats are super comfortable and he could totally take a road trip in it. Well, I'm going to tell you, he didn't take a road trip in it. I did. And they are not that comfortable. Not for 3 hours. Both my husband and I agreed. We sat in these seats, and they're a little bit stiff. And not to mention the fact that for somebody my size, the seat bottoms are just a little bit long. So I didn't think that this was really good. And I'm gonna step back out again, because he talked about how adjustable these seats were. Well, they're adjustable for everybody except for somebody who's on the petite side of things. Because he said that they would fit everybody. Well, they don't fit me. My feet barely touch the ground when I am in an optimal driving position. Yeah, this is it, by the way, for somebody who's 5 feet tall. So the other thing I want to point out is he talked about this storage space because of the way the transmission is set up. He talked about this storage space you get underneath the center console, and I'm going to say women who are probably going to be wanting to use that space cannot use it with the way the seat is set up. Do you see it? I don't see it. Yeah, you've got to actually kind of come in and, maybe the passenger could use it because there it is. But somebody who's on the petite side of the spectrum, aka female, would not be able to access that space or put a person there and have it be easily accessible. Yeah, and I'm going to move this back just a second. And I don't know how big Tim thinks women's purses are these days. Now, granted, I don't carry a purse, but I know a lot of women who do carry a purse. And I don't know how big he thinks purses are, but a purse is not fitting in that, nor is a diaper bag. So yeah, that is kind of wasted space to me. A floating console would have been better and a little bit more usable. This is pointless. Okay, so he also talked about the digital cluster here, and he didn't really like that. I personally don't have a problem with it, but the one thing that I will say is that this whole situation here, even though you have this beautiful Infiniti badge right here, looks very Nissan to me, right down to how you can change meter view. So you go into this and look at that. Yeah, if you've ever driven a Nissan or if you've ever watched a video on a Nissan, that should look very familiar to you. So I don't know. I don't think this is horrible. I don't think it's horrible. Like, captain's chairs in the back are good. You do have this lovely panoramic moonroof, and yes, Tim mentioned there are massaging seats right here. Not horrible. It's not horrible. But I don't think this is the most luxurious or amazing luxury vehicle that you can buy. So no love fest here. I'm totally counterpointing that. I'm also going to point out that I don't like this here because there are no buttons. They're touch points, and they aren't like, you can't just go like this and touch it and things will change. You do have to put a physical touch on here. Let me let me actually do that. This doesn't touch. You do have to really kind of press to make this happen. And yeah, I just, that I don't like any of that. Not to mention the fact that this is going to be like really, really fingerprinted. I do like the wireless Apple CarPlay, but I have not figured out how to make this not a split screen. I looked in the controls, and you're stuck with a split screen. And then if you want to get into your native infotainment system, you've got to go back to your Apple CarPlay main menu and then hit that Infiniti button, and this will take you to your main menu, which, by the way, you still have a split screen here. Now, this does have a little bit of a configurable menu, but again, this all just looks very Nissan to me, and I don't like the split screen. I do have to say also, this infotainment system isn't the most intuitive, and I really wish that there were better menu options at the bottom, and I really, really wish I'd been recording my husband when he was trying to figure out the audio system, because if you're in Apple CarPlay, it's really hard to figure out how to change your source to get into XM radio. Now, obviously, on this screen here, you just hit the source button, and then you can switch over to Sirius XM radio, but yeah, I don't know. It wasn't that intuitive. So I don't think that the interior is that luxurious. I don't like the infotainment system. And I think all of this looks a little bit too Nissan for me. And yeah, you may as well go with the top trim of the Pathfinder if this does it for you, because it's going to cost less. I'm also going to complain about the wireless charger. Now, the wireless charger works, but it overheats your phone. So while I was driving to and from Indianapolis, it's a 3-hour drive, I put my phone in the charger, and it would charge for about a half an hour, and then it would stop charging my phone, and I'd get a message on my phone that says, "We have stopped charging your phone because it's overheating." And then all of a sudden it would cool down, and then it would start charging again, but it never really charged my phone because it kept turning on and off. So bring a cord. You've got USB-A and USB-C ports back there. Bring a cord. Don't bother with the wireless charger. And yeah, I think it's stupid for automakers to spend money on that crap when it doesn't work. What else do I want to talk about here to counterpoint to Tim? Yeah, you know what? We're going to go back to the third row, because he's like, "Woo, it has a third row, but I'm not reviewing it because I'm too big to sit back there." And then he said I would review it. So yeah, let's talk about that, because that's another reason why this is not a great luxury SUV. All right, here we go. I am in the third row, and I want to talk about this right here, because yeah, when you get into the third row, these headrests are pointed boop, like this. They're kind of pointed down. So if you put any kind of a human here, their head is going to go like this. Like this is not comfortable. And this seat only seats two. So I will thank Infiniti for that. This center seat right here is not belted. There's actually a little device tray that's kind of sitting there, so you could set your phone, I guess, if you wanted to. But this, I mean, whoever sits back here is going to be fighting with the headrest, because there's nothing you can do. Like, you can't tilt it back any further, so you're stuck like this. This is a hideous third row. On top of all that, there's really not any leg room. I'm 5 feet tall. I am the size of an average 10-year-old. I'm short. I get it. I'm small. I'm little. I'm who you would put back here. And my knees with these seats, I can't even fit my feet back here. So my knees with these seats in the far back position, like, you have this much room between this seat and like my knees. And I just, Who does this? This is not a luxury SUV. In a luxury SUV, all passengers are going to be comfortable in every seat, and this third row is a forgotten third row. Shouldn't be here. It's hideous. Okay, yep, you have USB ports back here, and you have a couple cup holders, and you do have air vents in the ceiling, in the headliner, but seat comfort is bad. Headrests, really bad. Legroom, not great. You can slide these seats forward. I will give you that. You can slide the seats forward so you can get a little extra legroom back here, but then you're going to be compromising the legroom of your second row passengers. yeah, none of this is good. Don't like the interior, don't like the Nissan-ness of it, and really don't like the third row. So that's kind of strike 3 for Tim on his review. However, there is one thing that I do agree with him on. Actually, there are 2 things. So let's talk about those 2 things. But 2 balls and 3 strikes, you still lose. No love fest for this vehicle. Let's talk about the things that I agree with him on. So the first thing that I agree with Tim on is going to be the exterior design. I think Infiniti has done a damn fine job with this. I like the way the grille looks. I like the Infiniti that's there on the chromey bits. I like the headlights and, you know, the squintiness of them. I like the wheels. I think the wheels look really good. I like the floating roof line. I like everything about this. I think they have excelled in their design, and it looks really nice. Everything about this looks nice, and it works. So I will give Tim points for that. The exterior design is lovely. Okay, so the final thing that I agree with Tim on regarding the Infiniti QX-60 is going to be the ride and handling. This has a 3.5 liter V6 engine, delivers 295 horsepower, and yeah, it's really nice. It's really smooth. It's great for city driving, which is what I'm doing right now, and it's really good for highway merges and acceleration when you are passing on the highway, which, by the way, you do that on a road trip, and I did that a lot, and this did really well. If these seats were more comfortable, this would actually be a really good road trip vehicle. So the ride and handling is really nice, and you know, even in a city environment, this does fairly well for you know, maneuvering through tight spaces. Do have a little bit of a blind spot, you may have noticed that at my 4-way stop, where you have to kind of peek over the mirror, but overall, like, this is a really nice, competent cruiser with excellent acceleration. So I will give Tim that one. Okay, so if I'm not having a love fest for the Infiniti QX60 Autograph Edition, what vehicle would I drive if I were going to go for a luxury SUV? I would opt for the Lincoln Aviator, and I would go for the Black Label. It's probably going to be priced a little bit higher than this, which is at about $68,000, but it's got the massaging seats, it's got the perfect position seats, it's got a really quiet interior, it has really nice seating surfaces, it has all of the digital things that you want, and yeah, there are going to be some things that you don't want. The piano key gear shift thing, a little bit weird, but overall, if I were looking for a luxury SUV, it would not be this. I would head on over to Lincoln. So that is my 20 cents. I never give 2 cents. That is my 20 cents on the Infiniti QX60, and that is why I am calling bullshit on Tim's review. So there you go. That's what I have to say about this vehicle. Be sure to check us out on the web at pickuptrucktalk.com, and I will see you down the road.